At the time, I was 19 years old. My personality was still developing, was sensitive, and I often felt guilty about the most insignificant things. I had never had relationships with girls, largely due to my shyness. We set off for the cottage early in the morning and arrived there exactly 2 hours later. My mother's friend, Sarah, greeted us warmly. She paid special attention to me, hugged me, and remarked how much I had grown and how good I looked. Her compliment made me feel awkward, but there was something about her hug that I liked, and I felt like giving her another hug. I parked the car at the gate and helped carry the bags into the house. Sarah generously offered to make us breakfast, and we agreed. We set the table together, and I couldn't help but watch her. Sarah was in her mid-40s, quite tall, and had a figure that was impossible to miss: graceful, balanced, and undeniably attractive. Her long, slightly curly blonde hair was loosely styled back and cascaded just below her shoulders. Despite her age, her face was nearly flawless, with only the faintest signs of aging. Her beauty was understated, yet captivating. As we ate breakfast, I began to feel more at ease. However, my mind kept returning to thoughts of Sarah. She awakened something in me, a strange feeling that I couldn't define, but which fueled my imagination. I've always been a person who thinks too much, gets lost in daydreams, and Sarah fueled those thoughts even more. But I remained silent as I watched her, not fully realizing I was drawn to her. After breakfast, Sarah discussed the plans for the day, which included a lot of rest. I won't detail the rest of the day, but we'll skip to the evening when the atmosphere changed. We went to the sauna, and afterwards, the small gathering continued until late into the night. Our plan to leave never materialized, and we stayed the night. There were 3 rooms in the cottage. Grandma and Mom shared the big couch in the living room, and I got a bed in one of the spare bedrooms. When I finally settled into bed, my thoughts went back to my morning meeting with Sarah. The thoughts were bothering me, and there was no way I could relax. To clear my head, I decided to take a walk. I dressed quickly, slipped into shorts and a t-shirt, and crept quietly down the hallway, making sure to creak the wooden floors. Once outside, I breathed in the cool night air and headed for the restroom. The sauna and the restroom were not far from each other, and I noticed that the light in the sauna was still on. I assumed that someone had forgotten to turn it off, so I decided to check it out. As I got closer, I heard a soft creak coming from the restroom door. My heart raced, and I called out nervously, "Who's there?" "It's just me." Sarah's voice came from the shadows, and I jumped in surprise. "You scared me," I admitted, my voice shaking slightly. "What are you doing?" Sarah smiled, her calm demeanor instantly putting me at ease. "I just needed some fresh air." "Did you?" "I couldn't sleep," I reply, stammering. "Decided to get some fresh air too. Since you're here, would you like to help clean up?" The offer sounded awkward, but she smiled and agreed. Together, we entered the anteroom of the sauna, and Sarah began sweeping the floor with a small broom, picking up dry leaves from the used oak branches. I silently admired her from the side, absorbing every graceful movement. "Would you mind opening the windows?" "The room could use some fresh air," she asked, her voice soft but commanding. I quickly complied with her request. There was a small bench draped with a thin blanket in the room, and Sarah offered to sit on it, enjoying the light drizzle. I felt out of place and didn't know what to say. We sat in silence for a while. The night air was refreshing, but filled with a strange tension. Sarah broke the silence by turning to me with a casual question. "Do you have a girlfriend?" The question caught me off guard. "No," I answered, feeling my face warm slightly. She raised an eyebrow, teasing me slightly. "A handsome young guy like you and no girlfriend?" Her words made me squirm in my seat, unsure of what to answer. "I just haven't met the right person," I mumbled awkwardly. Sarah chuckled softly, but her tone became more serious. "I noticed you were watching me when you arrived," she said, her eyes meeting mine. I froze, feeling a wave of nervousness wash over me. Her words were like a jolt, making me realize the unspoken tension between us. I didn't know how to react, so I remained silent, hoping the conversation would turn in another direction. "There's nothing wrong with it," she said quietly, her voice calm and reassuring. "It's natural." Her words hung in the air, and for a moment I felt like time had slowed down. I didn't know what to say, but I didn't need to. Sarah's gaze lingered on mine, and the space between us seemed to disappear. Without another word, we found ourselves drawn to each other in ways I hadn't expected. The rest of the night passed like a blur, filled with moments I couldn't quite put together. By morning, everything was back to normal, though the unspoken connection between us remained. When it was time to leave, Sarah hugged me tightly, holding me a moment longer than expected. "Come visit me again soon," she whispered in my ear. "I'll be waiting." Over the next year, Sarah and I kept in touch, and I found excuses to visit her at every opportunity. These moments were brief but meaningful, leaving a lasting impression on my young, impressionable personality. To be continued.